Right, been trying out a couple of different differentiation activities in my lessons, and this is something that's worked quite well. Becoming an expert, you get the pupils to complete a piece of work and they self-assess it against a checklist or whatever that might be. And then you allocate them an expert card which has an individual task on. The cards would look something like this, highlighting what they've managed to do well and giving them a task which for this particular activity was to help someone else in the classroom. So there was a bit of peer support involved, and it meant each pupil got support on an area they were weaker in, but also got to be an expert in something and pass on that knowledge to the rest of the class. This is another activity that's worked quite well. It works really well as a quick starter activity. To recap learning from the last lesson, you separate the class into different groups like this. Then you show the pupils an example of a piece of work. You read it out to them. They stand up when they identify the technique. You could also use it with a series of different images and stand up when they see the image associated with their theme or idea. It means you can ascertain really quickly who in the class understands different concepts and who doesn't, and it also means at some point they will all be standing up and they'll all be participating, but it will be at their identified skill area. This is another idea for a group activity. You separate the class up into roles A, B, C and D. Each group has a different task to do based on the same topic. In the end, all 4 tasks come together to create the final outcome of the lesson. I've used it where role A takes on quite a lead role, and their task is usually to come up with a series of questions that they could ask the B, C and D members of their group when they all come back together. A's work together to start with, B's work together to start with, and etc. in order to peer support each other to come up with a series of answers to a task. I individualise these groups so that it's based on ability, then go back and work in a mixed group of A, B, C and D, with A's taking on a lead role and actually doing the teaching of the small group task. It means all pupils get an opportunity to have an understanding of the task before going back to the group, but there is an extended task for those in the A band that can push the other pupils in the group.